whole world is my sexual oyster.
Hey folks, it's Finn. So, if you've been watching my recent vlogs, you will know that I'm in the middle of this immense sexual paradigm shift, sexual awakening, sexual evolution. It's epic, amazing, fabulous. Like with everything else in this channel, I've decided to share very, very honestly about what's been going on because I feel it's really important to share it. That's what I really want to talk about today, about sexual shame and fear around intimacy and ways of being intimate. Now, this vlog is in no way a how-to. It's not about how to overcome sexual shame and fear of intimacy, because I'm still working that bit out for myself. It's more a chance for me to just share some thoughts and have a conversation, because I'm really aware of just how much shame there is around sex and talking about it, and how much that's had a big impact on me and on my inability to connect with myself on a sexual level and to have a really healthy sex life with anyone else. I have had so many lovely comments from people, thank you, to all my recent vlogs where I've been sharing about this recent experience, which I'll put a link up to the vlog about that here. Everyone's been so positive, and that's been really refreshing. But there have still been the odd comments here and there, not nasty, but just more questioning in terms of like, are you not concerned about putting this out there, you know, if your friends and family see it, or if your future employer sees it. Valid questions, and they're things I ask myself before I upload any vlog. But this is my passion, this is what I love doing, and so if other things in my life aren't congruent with it, then they're not for me, are they? But the bigger issue here is there is nothing to be concerned about. If you look at what I've shared, I've been very conservative. I want to share far more, trust me, I do. It's so exciting. But I've, you know, other than talking about sex and intimacy and the occasional mention of some genital parts, it's pretty mainstream stuff. So why do people worry about this so much? Why is it when someone starts talking about sex, the hairs on the back of everyone's neck stands up and we all get a bit weird? And that's what's prompted me to make this, really, because I clearly had a lot more sexual shame that I've absorbed from the culture around me than I was aware of. You know, this paradigm shift I'm going through at the moment is really changing the way I feel about sex, the sort of things I enjoy doing, the way I feel about being intimate and asking for intimacy and communicating around sex, and about the type of relationships I want to have. And I'm noticing even myself when I'm sharing it, especially when I'm talking about the possible multiple partner thing, that my head starts going, oh, what are people going to think about me? And why should it make any difference? And it's something to do with morals, isn't it? And I had a set of morals around sex that weren't mine. They were given to me from the culture around me as to what's right and what's wrong. And in this awakening I've had, I'm now suddenly aware that I currently do not know actually what my rights and wrongs are. As far as I'm concerned, as long as it's consenting between myself and another one or more consenting adults, then there really shouldn't be an issue. We're so affected by what we're told is okay and what isn't okay that we lose sight of about what is okay for us. And I hadn't realised how this outside influence had taken my ability away from me to decide what's right for me. There isn't anything to be ashamed about. Sex is the most natural, it's as natural as breathing, isn't it? I mean, let's think about it for a minute. Every single one of us sitting here right now, making this video, watching this video, was made because two people had sex. And look at how majestic and spiritual and beautiful it is that our bodies, whether we touch them on our own or other people touch them, can produce these amazing sensations and orgasmic amazingness. Isn't it incredible our bodies can do that? That's something to be celebrated. And yet, a huge majority of us are more about sex than aren't we? And it's just, I'm realising the madness of it. For me, for my own journey right now, I'm so excited. So much so, I'm getting emotional. Didn't expect that. Because I'm so into spiritual evolution and spiritual growth. I love this part of my life. I love the fact that AA woke me up to really engaging with myself. In fact, that was my very first ever huge paradigm shift, was when I entered recovery, and I went from being a really poor me and it's all everyone else's fault, and you know, if the world was different I'd feel different, and then overnight I had this awakening and suddenly went, no, I'm my responsibility, and suddenly everything switched on its head, and I took responsibility for my own mental health and for growing and developing and realising that what happens out there happens, but it's up to me to respond to it. And this paradigm shift I've had now around sex, it's the same thing. Oh God, what's wrong with me? It's just happy tears, I think. It's bringing up so much. Because I was just bumbling through life unconscious sexually. And I hadn't realised, and it is kind of like upsetting and really joyful at the same time to realise. Sorry about this, I was not expecting to get this emotional about it. It is just beautiful because it is literally just swapped everything on its head about what I thought about. And it's given me ownership of my body again in ways that I hadn't realised I'd lost. Because I've been absorbing images and ideas from the outside world about what's right to do with my body and have done to my body. And I hadn't realised that. And it's such a shock. I grew up with very poor messages around sex. I was born in the 70s. You know, we didn't talk about sex at school, really. We had the very basic mechanics of how it works. And then add to that I lived in a body that didn't feel right and I didn't know why. So that added stuff to it. And then I came out as a lesbian, and there's all that kind of, like, at the time when I was coming out anyway, homosexuality is shameful. And then, of course, coming out as trans, and there's lots of, like, negative image stuff around being trans and the shame of that. So it's understandable that I've kind of absorbed all this negative stuff around my body. But I think as humans, we quite commonly all do it. And personally, I think it stems from the fact that when we're taught at school, we are usually just taught the mechanics. And we're not taught the other stuff about how beautiful it is to be intimate with other people, from anything from a sensual level to a full sexual level. We don't have that discussion. And when we try to, we freak out about what we might be doing to young people by telling them that. But I actually think it's empowering. This is an amazing thing, to know what your body wants, to know how to ask for it, to know how to say no to things it doesn't want, to meet potential partners or friends and have a honest, adult, open conversation about what is okay and what isn't in that relationship. That's a healthy thing. Why are we all so het up about talking about something that is so healthy when done right? It's actually the standing away from it that causes the problem, not the talking about it. I have approximately 30 years worth of wrong thinking around sex to undo, because I want to undo everything I've been told and decide what it is I want. And that's what it should be about. I mean, there is no right and wrong in sex. It's what's right and wrong for you, and it's what's right and wrong between you and one or more partners, isn't it? That's the thing. If it's consenting and it's between yourself or other consenting people, there is nothing ever wrong at all. I'm at the beginning of what looks to be a really exciting journey, and so for me, my next steps now are just going to be to learn. I'm reading various books, watching various stuff on YouTube about sex, intimacy, consent, relationship models, all of this kind of stuff. And I'm working out how to be balanced and brave, because obviously I'm in one of my most vulnerable phases right now because I've opened myself up completely to really explore all this, and I need to be very careful not to do any damage, because damage I did in the past by making bad sexual decisions added to the shame, and I need to be careful not to do that now. So I'm trying to find ways to make sure that I can explore all this new stuff that's coming up, but in safe ways, and I think that's really important. So overcoming sexual shame and fear of sex and intimacy starts with allowing yourself to be vulnerable with the right people and taking a really honest look at how you think and feel about sex. Because for me, I'm noticing sometimes I'm thinking things and I'm realising that it's actually not me that thinks that. I've picked that up from something and I think that's what I should do. Whereas now, I'm starting again with thinking, okay, what is it I want? What is it I feel? And that's so hugely exciting. Sex and intimacy is beautiful, not shameful. So for goodness sake, let's stop being so wound up about it and let's have a conversation. If this made any sense to anybody and you just want to chat, drop me a message at the bottom. I will probably be going on about sex for a while because that's all I can think about right now. But next week there will be a break in sex vlogs and I will be doing a vlog at Trans Pride Brighton. It's Saturday, isn't it? It's Thursday today. Yes, so Trans Pride Brighton is on Saturday. Please come and say hello. Everyone says, oh, I'll get nervous about saying hello. Don't be nervous, because I'm already nervous anyway. I'm always nervous, so let's just be nervous together. So come and say hello. And if I'm vlogging and you're up for just saying hello on the vlog, that'd be lovely. I'd really like that. So, yeah, I'll see you Saturday, and I'll try and be like, God. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.